Hey everybody, how is it going? Can you believe it's Thursday already? Just where has this week gone? It's gone so fast. On my screen, there we go. Harrison's been back at school now for 2 weeks. I can't believe it. All that time he spent in lockdown is just insane, from back in March, and now suddenly he's back at school and he's been there for 2 weeks, which is just crazy. But anyway, the weather this weekend is supposed to be really good. We've got a little surprise going for him that he's been asking to pitch the tent in the garden again. So we're going to be doing that this weekend. So tomorrow I'm going to put the tent in the garden, having a barbecue and just making the most of that to surprise him. So that is our plans for the weekend. But anyway, today I wanted to talk to you all about procrastination and how to push past those urges of going to go and do something else instead of working on our goals, because we all do it, and the procrastination struggle bus is real, and there are so many of us on that bus, on that ride and on that journey. And I have been a pro procrastinator for years. I am probably the biggest procrastinator out there, and I cannot tell you the number of things that I have put off doing or not gone and done because I'm too scared to go and do it, or I think that there's something else I should be doing. And there is just so many things that I have put off in the past and procrastinated over, which is completely crazy, because usually those things that I'm putting off are the things that are going to move me forward. They are the things that are going to get me to where I want to go, to achieve the things I want to achieve. And it's probably the same for you guys too. I have no doubt that the things that you're procrastinating on and putting off are the things that you know you want to be doing, but for some reason you just cannot get going on it, you cannot get started, or when you do, you go off and do something else. But you know that those things are the things that are going to help you move forward, and that's why you get frustrated and annoyed with yourself. And so this is a topic that I could talk about for ages. So I have got my notes with me because I would never ever remember everything that I wanted to say. So if you are watching live, please say hello in the comments so that I can see that you are here. And if you're watching this on the replay, please just drop in the hashtag replay in the comments too, so that I can know that you are watching it afterwards. And I hope that what I'm going to share is going to help, because I want you to know that no matter how much you procrastinate, how frustrated you get with that, there are things that you can do to push past that. Because trust me when I say that if I can do it, you guys too can do it too, because I procrastinate. Even now, with all the things that I look back at, the things that I have accomplished over the last 2 or 3 years, just because I forced myself to push past those urges to procrastinate and get distracted by shiny squirrels, I have still achieved things, and there are things that you can do. And so I'm going to share a few things today with you that I hope are going to help you guys too. And just keep going and know that you can do this. And it does get easier the more you do it. But the strategies that I want to share with you this afternoon are a few things that you can do to firstly understand why you're procrastinating in the first place. There's a few reasons that we all procrastinate, and usually it's one or other, or maybe a mix of those things. And once you identify the reasons why you procrastinate on whatever it is that you're supposed to be working on, you can understand and start to recognize that when it raises its head, so that you can stop it in its tracks, sit it back down, and then you can start pushing through and actually achieving your goals. So I'm going to share with you a few things that I've learned over the years. I do still get distracted every single day, and I have my accountability buddies that I work with when I'm blogging, and they keep me in check, because I will go off and squirrel during those time blocks, and I haven't done half the things that I wanted to do. And prime example, this morning I was sharing with them that I was supposed to be doing my Facebook scheduling. I was in the lounge with my husband measuring up the furniture. So I still procrastinate and I still get distracted. But I keep going and I still manage to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And so I'm hoping, and I know that the things that I'm going to share with you today are going to help you. So a few comments, people saying hello. Hi Nicole, hi Becky, hi Claire, hi Julie. It's great to see you all on here. Hands up if you are procrastinators as well. And let's hope that you can adopt some of these strategies today to help you. So if you've got any questions as well, drop them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them as we go through. So the main reasons then, why do we procrastinate? First question, do you know why you procrastinate? What are the main reasons you feel like you procrastinate? Are you sure why you do? I'm going to share these with you, and then let me know in the comments if any of these are resonating with you. So the first one is not knowing how to do something. Now for me, this is number one why I procrastinate, because I am a real sucker. But if I don't know how to do something, I just won't do it. I will ignore it, and I will keep putting it off and putting it off, and I will not do anything about it because I don't know how to do it. And instead of diving in, I will ignore it, and I will hope that it goes away. And it doesn't, because 9 times out of 10, the one thing that you are procrastinating on, that you are ignoring because you don't know how to do it, is actually the one thing that is going to move you forward more than anything else. And whether it is how to fix something around the house, how it is even to just get started on decluttering, how it could be, prime example for me is working out how to set up my email service provider and all those sort of things, or transferring my hosting domain with my blogging. I had absolutely no idea how to do those, and so I would ignore them, but they're things I know that I needed to do. And so the first reason is not knowing how to do something. But I'm going to give you a few tips towards the end of this on how to push past that one if you don't know how to do it. The second one is worrying that you're going to fail. We all worry about that. But do you know what? The failing is how we learn and is how we grow. And the more times that we fail, the more times we learn how to dust ourselves up, pick ourselves back up and get going again. And we learn along the way that it's okay to make those mistakes as well. And on the opposite side of that is the failure, is the fear of succeeding, and actually what it's going to be feeling like if we are actually a success. How are we going to feel if we actually achieve the things we want to achieve? Because if we do that, it means that situation has changed, we're in a different area that we're uncomfortable and unfamiliar with, we've got no idea what it's going to feel like, and that can stop us, and that can force us to procrastinate as well, and to continue doing the things that keep us where we're safe instead of stepping outside of our comfort zones because we're worried about the fear of success. The third one is worrying about what other people will think as well. So if I go out there and I do this thing, what are people going to say? Are they going to judge me? Are they going to think, who is she to do that? Who does she think she is? Or, oh my goodness, I can't believe she's gone and done that. Or if you failed, that they're going to laugh at you. All of those kind of reasons are enough with the fear of that process to actually hold you back and stop you from doing things. And if that is the reason of it, that can cause you to procrastinate as well. Because if you're worrying about what other people will think, again, you're going to do what you can to stay where you are and stay safe and not dive into doing that thing. And you'll just procrastinate and you'll just keep putting it off. The next one is feeling guilty because you've got other priorities. So you've got other things that you feel like are more important. So it could be that you keep putting off making time for yourself because you feel that self-care is selfish and that you shouldn't be looking after yourself when you've got your family to look after, or you shouldn't be going and taking time for yourself when you've got all the stuff going on around the house that you need to sort out. So you can procrastinate on making your well-being a priority, and then come the end of the month, you still haven't had any time for yourself. You're exhausted, you're worn out, but you're still beating yourself up because you've been putting it off. And it's on your to-do list, make time for me, or book a haircut. Whatever it is that you need to do to look after yourself is on your to-do list, but you keep bumping it down the list for the sake of other things that you feel are more important because you are feeling guilty that you are not dedicating your time to things that you think you should be doing instead. Another one is a lack of focus or direction, and this can be a huge player in procrastination because if you don't know really what your steps are or the direction is that you want to take, and you haven't totally mapped out your goals or whatever it is that you are working on, if you haven't got that focus, that direction, that clarity of the path that you want to take, it's easy to just go and do something else, to not keep going with that and just give up, because you can get halfway through and think, well, this isn't working, this isn't the way I want it to go, I'm not going to do it. So you just stop. So that can be a real reason of procrastination too. Last one, which is probably another one of mine, is the pain of not doing that thing actually feels less than the pain in our minds of how painful it would be to do the thing that we know we should be doing. So it's easy to put something off because we think, particularly if we don't know how to do it, or because of any of the other ones I've just mentioned are a playing factor, that they can make it feel more painful to actually do it. And so it's easier to put it off and not do it because, again, we're staying where it's safe and the pain of not doing it is less, and we can just ignore it and keep it over there and not worry about it. But the reality is, if there is a deadline attached to it, which like most things there usually are, the closer we get to that deadline raising its head, that it starts to become more painful that we haven't done it. And then suddenly we're in a rush, we have to get it done at the last minute. It becomes super, super stressful because we run out of time. Suddenly we have to make a load of decisions because we've not given ourselves time to think about it. And I do that all the time. If I'm putting something off, but I know that it needs doing, at that moment, that pain threshold of not doing it is not as painful as doing it. But as time ticks by, suddenly I'm like, no, I need to do this and I've got to get it sorted. And why did I leave it so long to do it? Now I'm stressed, I'm overrun, I haven't got time. And that just makes it super, super painful. So the way to push past that one is to go for that short-term pain for the long-term gain, is to know that, yeah, it's going to be a little bit painful to start with. It gets easier as you dive in, but it's going to be a little bit painful to start with. But once you've done it, you've got that long-term gain. So yeah, so those are the main reasons why we procrastinate, is not knowing how to do something, is being worried that we will fail or that we will succeed, that we worry what others think, that we feel guilty because we have other priorities that we should be giving our time to, that we think, when I missed one, we think we should be doing it. So if we think we should be doing it, usually if you are putting something off and the word should comes to your mind, I should do this, I really should do that, the word should usually triggers that it's an expectation that somebody else has put on you. And it could just be that it's something you think you should be doing, or that you don't really want to do it and you just think, yeah, I should do that, but I don't want to do it, so you ignore it and you don't do it. And that's usually another reason why we procrastinate as well. I missed that on my list. So yeah, is thinking why we should be doing something. And that's something you can ask yourself, is if you are constantly thinking, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, it's usually a good sign of, do you actually need to? And you can usually let that one go. The lack of focus or direction, and then the pain of not doing it is actually less painful than the thought of the pain of doing it. So those are the main reasons why we procrastinate. So how can procrastination strike? There are a few different ways of it doing, and it'll be different for everybody. You may have ways that procrastination raises its head with you that I haven't got on my list. These are the ones that tend to crop up for me. But if there is a way that procrastination, after hearing these, raises for you, let me know in the comments, because I would love to know what it is, if it's different to these ones here. Nicole says, for me, the main reason is your first point for not knowing how to do something. Yeah, absolutely. That can absolutely crush you and completely stop you in your tracks, because the complete overwhelm of not knowing where to look to find the answers, and then when you have got the answers, of actually how to figure out even then how to map out the steps, is then another step in the process that can cause you to procrastinate. Well, now I've got them, I just don't know how to do it. And then you just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep procrastinating. Becky says, fear of failure, success, that's mine. Yeah, that is really hard, because that can be a double-edged sword where you're battling with both at the same time. You're trying to put your stuff out there and you're terrified that you're going to trip up, you're going to make a mistake, you're going to fail, people are going to laugh at you, and you're going to lose support. But at the same time, you're also then having the thing that, oh my goodness, now it's out there, people, all eyes are on me, everybody's watching me, I'm out there doing my thing, I'm succeeding, and now I don't know what to do with that. Whether it's branching out and changing your career, or starting up a business and seeing the money coming in, or going and trying to work hard to lose weight and now the weight's coming off and you're seeing a different person in the mirror and you don't know what to do with that. All of those things can really, really halt you and stop you from actually making those changes. So here are a few ways that procrastination can strike. The first is ignoring our to-do lists. And that can just be writing out the to-do list, but then never actually even looking at it, and just writing it down and then going off and doing something else and being busy for the day, but never actually tackling our to-do list, or even identifying the top 2 or 3 priorities of something that we want to accomplish in our day, but then not even doing them and ignoring them totally and going off and doing something else. It could be that we have a bunch of phone calls that we need to make. It could be that we need to pay a bill online. It could be all kinds of things that we know we need to do. But instead of that, we're like, that's fine, I'm just going to go and do some washing. And we just don't do them. So that's the first one. The second one is adding things to our to-do list and ignoring the ones that are above it. So we've already got things on our to-do list that we know we need to do and we know we need to tackle. But instead of doing them, we scroll through them and go, nah, and we just add a few more things and do those. And that is one that sometimes can raise its head when we're not even realizing it as well, is that we know that we need to do those things, but because we haven't figured out why we are procrastinating on those, for all those reasons I shared earlier, if we haven't figured out why we're procrastinating on those things on our to-do list, we will just keep adding to things below them and tackle those and ignore the ones that are already on there. Another one is going off and doing something else, which is commonly for us known as squirrel syndrome. You've seen the movie Up with the dog and he's like, squirrel. That's totally me, completely me. If something else pops up on my screen, or something else more exciting is happening over there, I'm off to go and check it out. I can't just sit on my backside and actually do what I need to do, or carry on and finish a job as well. That's another one that can raise its head, is you'll get partway through your goals, partway through your task of whatever it is that you're working on. Something else looks a bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting, might be easier to accomplish. I hope that still worked. So Nicole, squirrel, yeah. So yeah, it's going off and doing something else, and if you're halfway through something and something else more exciting pops up, I'm terrible at that. I will start a task. I'm a complete planner starter. Rubbish at finishing anything. Absolutely rubbish at finishing anything, because I get distracted by those squirrels. So the going off and doing something else is a massive reason for how procrastination can raise its head. The next is the I'll do it later, and that's a lot like the first one of ignoring the to-do list, of putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And it's usually because of one of those underlying reasons that I shared at the beginning. Another one, which is the most common one that we do, that we don't even realise we're doing it all the time, is the making ourselves busy. And we know that we have other things that we should be doing, but this making ourselves busy by filling our day either with other tasks that we would much rather go and do, or taking on a ton of commitments to help other people. And by doing that and thinking that we're helping others, that we're taking on things to help somebody out, or do a good deed, or help at the school with something, or whatever it might be, volunteer at your church, whatever it might be that you are doing, helping out other people, making you feel like you are accomplishing and that you are busy, is actually secretly procrastination raising its head. It's striking its ugly head. And because of the reasons that I've shared, you are then going and doing other stuff to make you feel like you are focusing on things and that you're doing something, but you're still not achieving the things that you know deep down that you actually want to achieve. And so that is one of the main reasons that crops up, and we don't even realise that we're doing it half the time. It's exactly the same. We're just watching TV in the evening, sitting there scrolling through social media mindlessly, when we could be doing things in the evening to work on our goals and accomplish them. And we choose not to. And we could be tired, but it could be that we're just telling ourselves that we're tired because actually we're procrastinating and we don't want to dive in. So those are the main reasons that we procrastinate. Did any of those, and how procrastination can strike, did any of those things of how procrastination strikes fit with you and go, oh my goodness, that's me? So let me know in the comments. And if there's anything that you know you do yourself that means you are procrastinating that I haven't listed, because I'd love to know what it is. Julie says, this is so me. I take on loads of things to help other people but don't get my own stuff done. Yeah, absolutely. And I bet when we dig in that one of those reasons that I shared earlier of why you don't do the things is probably one of those reasons. But yeah, we're all guilty of that, because it's human nature to want to help other people, and by doing that we feel like we are being of service and we're helping one another, but at the same time it is stopping us from doing the things that we want to do. And it's kind of an avoidance technique, but we don't always realise that we're doing it. We don't realise that we're doing it until we actually stop and look and see what we're doing. So how do we recognise when we are procrastinating? Number one is to ask yourself, what do you find yourself doing? What is it when you know you should be doing something, or when you know you're supposed to be doing something, or you have planned to do something, but you know in the back of your mind you're actually doing something else when you should be doing that? What is it that you are doing when that moment strikes? What is it when you are feeling annoyed that you were supposed to be doing that you're not doing? And that will prime example, when I am struggling to figure out what I need to do at my work and I'm at my PC and I should be writing a post or I should be editing a video or something like that, and I get frustrated because I can't work it out, I will go into my graphic design program that I use and I'll start creating some more Facebook graphics. So that's my biggest one. I know when I'm procrastinating if I am on Canva doing some design work and I'm not doing what I should be doing. So that's usually a thing, is to ask yourself, what do you regularly find yourself doing when you know that you should be doing something else? That is usually the biggest thing, is to just think, right, okay, I know I should have done that. What was I doing instead? And then you can work out what your triggers are. I've got my dog scratching to come in the room now. So, how do you stop procrastination from stopping you from getting distracted and going off and doing other things? How do you kick procrastination to the curb, push through and start crushing your goals and start doing the things that you want to do and know you should be doing? Number one is to dig into why you don't want to do that thing. So it's going back to those first ones that I ran through of all the different reasons why we procrastinate in the first place. And being really honest with yourself of like, okay, why don't I want to do this? What is this triggering with me? Why am I not doing this? Why am I avoiding this? Why am I putting it off? Why am I finding every excuse under the sun to not do it and just go and do something else? Ask yourself what those real things are. Nicole says, I love to watch videos of raising puppies, big distraction. I can totally resonate with you there. My one of the big distraction is scrolling through Instagram watching videos of French bulldogs, because I have a French bulldog and they crack me up. So yeah, there we go. So what is the reason that you are putting things off? And it can be a difficult thing to do because you've got to force yourself to sit down and dig deep and be really honest with yourself. But when you've done that, you can start to push past it, and then you can start to catch it before it gets the better of you. And then ask yourself, what can you do to change that mindset shift? Because 9 times out of 10, the things that are making us procrastinate, you can actually stop in the tracks as a mindset shift, and you can just turn that thought process on its head and you can find yourself going again. So usually it's a mindset shift, and that asking yourself what it is that you are going to do instead, because recognizing it, if you can know what it is that you normally go off and do when you're procrastinating, it could be like, oh, I'll just go and do some cleaning, or I'll just go and put some washing on, or just go and declutter that drawer, or, you know, I haven't had that phone, I'm gonna go and catch up with a friend. And it could be anything, and you know, it could be watching French bulldog videos or puppy videos, whatever it might be, or I'm just gonna go and watch another episode on Netflix. Whatever it is, guaranteed is the thing that you will do 9 times out of 10 will always be the same thing when you go off and procrastinate. So once you start to recognise that, you can snatch it and go, uh-oh, I'm doing it again. Here I go, I'm procrastinating. And that's what I do. That's usually the thought process in my head, is like, gotcha. I'm like, busted. It's time to get back to work. So how do we stop procrastination in its tracks? How do we push past and just resist those urges to go and do other things so that we can accomplish our goals? Here are a few things that I do, and I hope that they will help you too. So number one is forcing yourself to get used to being uncomfortable, and to know that it's okay to be uncomfortable, to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because everything we have done the first time we've done it has been uncomfortable, but then when we do it again, it gets more and more comfortable and it gets easier and easier. So is to get used to that discomfort that you have when you first dive into something. You have no idea how you're going to do it, but it gets easier as you go along, and trust the process that it gets easier as you go along, and allow yourself to just start dabbling with being uncomfortable. And so if it's a massive project or a massive goal that you've got to work on and you've got absolutely no idea how to do it and the thought terrifies you, break it down and pick something. It can be something related to that goal, or it can be something that's completely unrelated to that goal, some other part of your life, where you give yourself the opportunity to be uncomfortable and just dabble a little bit and have a go at being uncomfortable, and start expanding on each time doing something that's a little bit more uncomfortable and a bit more uncomfortable and a bit more uncomfortable. And when you get used to being uncomfortable and seeing that actually that discomfort gives you results, you don't mind so much of diving in and doing it. The next one, which is a massive one for me, is knowing that done is better than perfect. Because if I have got something that I am working on and I can't do it in my eyes perfectly, I won't do it. And that's something that I have battled with for years, is a mix of procrastination and perfectionism. And just the fear of something not being perfect is enough to make you procrastinate. And if you think that you can't do it absolutely perfectly, then you're just not going to do it at all. And that's how I can be sometimes, is sometimes I would much rather not put something out there if it's not going to be perfect than do it at all, which is completely crazy, because it's perfectly fine to send out, B minus, A minus work. It doesn't have to be A plus. And most of the time you can go back and fix it and go and try again. So it's absolutely fine to know that done is better than perfect, and progress over perfection as well. Those little bits of making progress over everything being perfect is what matters. And so you can tell yourself, if that is something that you really, really struggle with, is to just tell yourself that done is better than perfect. And there's not much in our lives that we can't take back and do again, or that we can't refine and improve on. So yeah, second one for pushing past that procrastination is to just remind yourself that done is better than perfect. And when you do it, you'll learn what worked and what didn't work, and you'll refine it for next time. The next one is that you don't need to know all the steps, especially if it's something that you're putting off because you just don't know how to do it. All you've got to do is take that first step, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. And if you break it down and you don't worry about having to know all of the steps and all of the route, but you just take that first step, the rest of it usually unfolds en route, and you will figure it out as you go along. You will absolutely, totally crush it as you go, because the path will unfold. And sometimes it's impossible to know all the steps, because until you've done one thing, you're not necessarily going to actually know what the next step is. So beating yourself up over the fact that you don't know what all the steps are is not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere, and you are just going to keep procrastinating. So when you catch yourself procrastinating because you don't know what all the steps are, just tell yourself, yeah, okay, that's fine. I don't know what all the steps are yet, but you know what? I'm going to take the first one, and then after then, I'm pretty sure that the next one will be okay, and then the next one, and then the next one. And before you know it, you will have pushed through and smashed that goal and look back, go, what was I worrying about? It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, and two, I figured it out, and I crushed it. So it's okay to do that, is to just dive in and take that first step. We've got Becky, progress over perfection. Absolutely. Julie, I spent ages on Canva producing a progress not perfection poster for my home office titled procrastination. I think that might actually be the complete definition of procrastination, Julie. I love it. I'm sending you a high five right now. I totally get that. That's exactly how I feel. Love it. Nicole, one baby step at a time, right? Absolutely. You've got to take those baby steps. You've got to take those baby steps. And one of our blogging mentors, Kim Anderson, she is amazing with her metaphor that she uses, that I think about all the time, is she imagines it to climbing a mountain. And if you stand at the bottom, you look at the top and you see that peak, it is miles off. And you're thinking, oh my word, how on earth am I going to scale that mountain? But you don't have to worry about that. You just got to grab that first rock. And that's what she says, is if you keep looking forwards and you grab the rock and the next rock and the next rock, eventually you will get to the top. But you are not worrying about that. All you are worrying about is grabbing that next rock. And once you've got that rock, you can look for the next one. So that is a perfect way of looking at it, a brilliant way of looking at it, is to just know that you don't need to know all the steps. Number 4 is to just start, is just dive in and do it. And like I said, allow things to unfold as they go. And, chances are, if you're worried about starting, is just to give yourself 5 minutes, because once you've dived in and you've started it, you'll be like, actually, yeah, it's not so bad. And you'll just keep going, and set this timer for 10 minutes if you like. And you'll probably find that once you've got to those 10 minutes, once that time's passed, you're so into it, you're just going to keep going. Next one is to allow yourself to make mistakes. And like the feeling of, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, is allowing yourself to make mistakes, and that knowing that done is better than perfect is to embrace those mistakes. Because like I said, by having those mistakes, you learn what works and what doesn't work, and you know what direction to take and which path to go. and all of those things. And so if you really struggle with making mistakes or allowing yourself to make mistakes, again, like the uncomfortable thing, is start small. Pick a few things where it's okay to mess up a little bit, and where it's okay to make a few mistakes, you know, even if it's like colouring outside of the lines for a little bit and allowing yourself to let that colouring go. I do that. I have my colouring books and my colouring pens, and I love sitting there colouring with my youngest Harrison, but I can't share a colouring book with him because I love his freestyle, but it doesn't fit with me, and I have to have my separate colouring book. So I'm working really hard at the moment to allow myself to colour outside the lines and just let that perfectionism go. So allow yourself to make mistakes, and, you know, just as time goes on, make bigger mistakes and make bigger mistakes, and know that it's okay, because there aren't mistakes. It's just us learning what works and what doesn't work, and that is okay. That is all part of the process of helping us learn and grow. The next one is to break your goals down into bite-sized chunks. So that's like thinking about grabbing the rock instead of looking at the bigger picture. Is think about what your goal is and take it down into those baby steps and just focus on one at a time. Tick that off, move it on to the next. That will stop you from procrastinating, because you're not feeling overwhelmed with all of the 101 tasks that you need to do to accomplish that goal. The last one is to get accountability, and that is whether it is just through a journal online, or setting yourself some deadlines where you check in with yourself each week or each month, or even having a friend to do the work with that is somebody who's got the same goal as you, that you can cheer each other on, you can check in with one another, you can challenge each other. Or even just to have, like when I'm working, I have my accountability buddies every day, who I love those guys to bits, and I couldn't get my work done without them being on the other end of the PC. And it's amazing, because it's Nicole and Becky who are watching this right now. I love you guys, because Becky's over in Florida, and Nicole, I always get this wrong, are in Norway. Norway, yes. I'm so rubbish every time Steve says to me, where is it, Nicole is? And I'm like, I can't remember. Norway, Finland, Norway. I'm rubbish. But yeah, it doesn't matter where they are. They can be in person, they can be down the road, they can be in the next town, they can be overseas, but you can have accountability buddies who will check in on you and catch you, especially if you share with them what your triggers for procrastinating are. Nicole, Norway, thank you. You can tell me off later. I told you I'm rubbish. You can share with them the traits that you have, or what your traps procrastinating are, and they can catch you and go, Han, shouldn't you be doing that? Come on, that's what you should be working on. You're procrastinating right now. Why are you procrastinating? And then you can dig through with them too why those things and those reasons of procrastinating are rising their head again. So I hope that helps. Let me know what your thoughts are on the triggers for you for procrastinating. If any of those tips have helped on how to push past that procrastination and actually crush those goals. Is there a way that, reason that you procrastinate that I haven't shared? Because I would love to know what it is. And I am a complete recovering procrastinator. 5 days out of 7, I don't do too bad. If I'm honest, 4 days out of 7. But hey, we all do it. As a person, it's a human nature trait. And for all of those reasons that I shared in the beginning, of worrying about being judged, of not knowing the steps, of fear of failure, fear of success, all of those reasons can force us to procrastinate and not work on the things that we know are going to make us the person that we want to be and achieve the things we want to do. But do you know what? It's that short-term pain for that long-term gain. You push through those things and you use all of those mindset things I've just shared to push through and crush your goals, and you will be the version of yourself. You will be living your best life, because you have kicked procrastination to the curb and told it to what's it off and do what you need to do, because you know that you can do it deep down. Because once you dive in and you start, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. And you can just then use that as evidence of like, hey, I did this, so why can't I do it again for this? And you can use it as evidence each time to fuel your confidence, to fuel the trust in yourself, to fuel the trust in your capabilities. And you can use that to then give you the drive and the push to keep going next time you have that temptation to go off and do something else. So think about why you procrastinate, what your procrastination style is, and the things that you can do to stop procrastination in its tracks. And if you want to talk about this anymore, please just add comments in here, ask questions in the Facebook group. This is clearly, as you can see, because I've been talking about 35 minutes now, I'm really sorry, it's something that I could talk about all day long. But I hope that it has helped, and yeah, good luck with pushing past procrastination and crushing your goals, because do you know what? If I can do it, I promise you, you guys can do it, because I was, and sometimes still am, a procrastinator pro, and we can all become recovering procrastinators. We will never ever push completely past becoming procrastinators, because it's human nature, and anytime we are forced to step outside of our comfort zone and take on something that's a little bit scary, it's our body's natural instinct and our mind and our brain's natural instinct to keep us where it's safe, and it will do anything and everything it can to keep us safe and stop us from diving in where it might be a little bit scary and the path is unknown, and it's just human nature. So we will never ever fully kick it to the curb. So I want you to know that. Don't ever beat yourselves up that you haven't nailed it, because you never will. There will always be new things to worry about and new things to dive in that we want to put off because we're scared. But we can do it. All we need to do is grab that evidence of the things that we have done up until now, and all of the things that we have accomplished and achieved, is to understand why we're procrastinating in the first place, to watch for our triggers, and to push past them by knowing that done is better than perfect, and is better over perfection, and that we can dive in and take those baby steps, and we can do it. We've all got this, guys. I hope that helped. Thanks so much for everybody who has watched live. It's been great chatting with you all. And if you are watching this on the replay, don't forget to add the hashtag replay to the comments and any questions, and I will jump back in and catch up with you all soon. It's been a lot of fun. Let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about, because that was awesome and I really enjoyed it. As you can tell, I can still talk about this and I'm still going. So I'm going to stop before I keep going and bore you all. And I will chat with you all very soon. It's so good to be back doing these lives, and I am loving hanging out with you all again properly face to face like this, rather than just the posting, and having the free time finally to catch back up. It's been awesome. So Julie, this was very interesting, helpful. Thank you. I'm so glad it helped. That's what we're here for. Love it. All right, guys, have fun and good luck with kicking procrastination to the curb and becoming a recovering procrastinator. You can do this. I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.